Today on Larry King Now, he's everywhere these days. It's Emile Hirsch. You're a workaholic.
An actor being a workaholic that's a very rare thing. You're shooting a really crazy, chaotic scene, and you're, half worried about, Billy kicking down the door with an axe on you in the middle of a take. One direction that Sean gave me on Into the Wild, where I asked him a question, and he said, "Don't make me do your homework for you." And I think that there was just a good piece of advice about self-reliance.
Plus,
You always hear like, oh, you changed, but I think until you hold the baby, you don't really know.
were you present at the birth?
I was there the day after.
Oh, on the next one, cut the cord. That's all next on Larry King Now. Welcome to Larry King Now. Our special guest, Emile Hirsch, the terrific actor. You know him from Savage's Killer Joe and his indelible role in Into the Wild. Now he stars as Clyde Barrow in the upcoming Bonnie and Clyde, the two-part TV miniseries. It'll air on December 8th and 9th on the History Channel, Lifetime, and A&E simultaneously. It's a first for these networks. You can also see Emile in two upcoming films, Twice Born and Lone Survivor, and a third, The Motel Life, is in select theaters now. He'll soon be taking on the role of John Belushi in the late actor's Untitled biopic as well. He is kind of, what's going on with you? You're a workaholic.
It sounds like a lot, and well, an actor being a workaholic that's a very rare thing. I find that I just have had a lot of time in between these movies coming out. An actor will make like 1 or 2 movies a year, and let's say the shoot is maybe 35 days on one movie or 45 on another. That's still only 80 days of the year that you're really working.
But when they come out and
they get delayed, or on some of these smaller movies like Twice Born and The Motel Life, the release date gets pushed, and all of a sudden there's
Did you
crowded
start in
field.
theater?
I did. I actually went to Will Geer's Theatricum Botanicum as a little kid, which is up in Topanga Canyon, and it's a really great place to be introduced to acting. You're running around in nature in the wilderness, making your own costumes, doing Shakespeare. I was 8 and 9 years old. So
Remember why you wanted it?
It was just fun. I think that's the main thing. I created a character, I think when I was 4 years old with my sister. And people go, what was your first job? And I go, like making money? Okay, it was acting. And they go, well, how can that be? And it was when I was 4 years old, my sister made the tickets for a character that I created called Funny Cowboy. And for 50 cents, my parents would pay. And I would basically just set up a bunch of props around the room and be like, I'm Funny Cowboy, and just trash the whole room. And that was it.
All right, we can talk about a lot of things. But let's talk about Killer Joe. One of the wildest, craziest, insane, terrific movies I've ever seen, directed by Bill Friedkin.
It's a romantic comedy.
Yeah. When you got that script, what did you think?
Well, when I first read Killer Joe, I didn't know about the play, or the Tracy Letts of it all, the guy who wrote the play. And, he also wrote August, Osage County, which I had seen and actually loved.
That's a good movie coming up.
It took me a minute to put it together. But when I read the script, I didn't quite realize that it was a comedy. So I'm reading something that I think is a drama, and then I'll flip the page and, well, that's kind of interesting, and that can't be right. That's kind of funny. And then the chicken bone. When it got to the chicken bone scene,
Was it kind of crazy to do? Did you? I mean,
well, especially with Billy Friedkin directing it. I feel like
up in his years.
Yeah, and well, you would never know it because he is, he just has ferocious energy, and he's such a character himself. He's like the mad wizard behind it all. So it'd be one thing if you had like some flatliner director who's like, action, okay, cut. But with Billy, you're shooting a really crazy, chaotic scene, and you're, half worried about, Billy kicking down the door with an axe on you in the middle of a take.
Now, Bonnie and Clyde, tell me about this. Now, we all know the famous movie, Warren Beatty, the movie, Faye Dunaway. It was that Gene Hackman got famous from that movie. Did you see the movie before you took this project?
You know, I sort of pride myself on being a little bit of a film buff at times. And I had always been a little bit ashamed because I had the DVD for years. And I was always like, this is the classic Bonnie and Clyde. And I just never got around to watching it. So as soon as I was sent the scripts, I said, well, now I definitely can't watch it because actors, if given the right place and the right time, will be parrots to other actors, you know? So if you see, you know, an actor who's seen Marlon Brando in A Streetcar Named Desire might as well not bother trying to play the part because it's going to be a lot harder.
Yeah, I got it. So you didn't see it?
I didn't see it.
Did you see it subsequently?
Yeah, as soon as we wrapped production and filming, I watched it and I loved it. I mean, but it's night and day from what our version. I was actually shocked at how different our version was.
Is how so?
Well, in the Arthur Penn version, you know, there's comedic undertones to the whole movie, and especially to Beatty's character of Clyde. His Clyde is kind of a much more
out there,
smiling, kind of jokey, you know, kind of goofball, doofus, kind of at times kind of guy, and I felt that our Clyde was a lot darker, more stoic type of person, and some of the research that I had done in preparation for the role, you know, Clyde Barrow was sent to prison for over a year, and, you know, it's documented that he was raped and beaten in jail. So my version of Clyde was someone who's...
That was not in the first.
Definitely not in the first one, you know.
But you still have the friendship, right, and the two couples? And...
Yeah. There's a lot of parallels in terms of certain scenes where I'm like, okay, there's Frank Hamer in this scene, and there's Bonnie in this scene, and that lines up. But the night that I read the scripts, I felt like this was a pretty good omen. I went out to a party up in the Hollywood Hills that my friend had invited me to, and I walk into the backyard, and lo and behold, sitting at the table was Warren Beatty. And I'd met him one time before. So I went up to him and I said, hey, Mr. Beatty, how you doing? How's it going, Warren? And he's very, very friendly, charming guy. And I told him, I said, you know, I might do this Bonnie and Clyde project. And he was nice about it, and I confess that I hadn't seen his version. I don't think he was thrilled at that, but I think he...
Oh, he'll watch yours, though. Yeah, he will. How does it come to play on 3 networks? How did that work out?
Well, what I think it was originally it was just History and Lifetime, and I think that they wanted to create... the network wanted to create some kind of event and try out what would happen to the audience if we put it on 2 different networks. You know, History Channel is much more male-oriented.
So it's on History?
A&E and Lifetime.
All 3.
And they added A&E mid-shoot. And at that point, when they added the 3rd network, we were just, the actors were, I think, a little bit confused. You know, we were like, three networks, that's a lot.
They ought to pay you 3 times the money.
Yeah.
Well. Yeah. By the way, when we come back, we'll show you a clip, and then we'll talk more about Emile's work abroad and his relationship with our good friend Sean Penn right after this.
You know, I don't think without Bonnie, Clyde Barrow would have ever been nearly as famous. I think that he had aspirations to be a great bank robber like John Dillinger, who he really looked up to. But he didn't have the skills as a criminal. He didn't have that skill set. But Bonnie was charming and charismatic and had a wild imagination. There's a lot of poetry that Bonnie actually wrote when they were on the run, which is it's not great poetry, but it's compelling, and some of it's actually used as voiceover in the movie. I think that...
So they were famous because they were a couple?
I think it was because they were a couple, you know. I think that the coupleness of them, coupled with the fact that they were in the Depression and the people were able to look at them almost like they were these mythical Robin Hood figures, you know. They were robbing the banks, and the banks, you know, as far as the public was concerned, were the people that were, you know, foreclosing their houses and taking their farms and things.
Last time we were on the show was 3 years ago, and I was on CNN, and you had just climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. It was for a charity, though.
Yeah, it was for a musician named Kenna created a charity called Summit on the Summit. So we were basically climbing to raise money for for different clean water charities that Kenna had kind of picked, and I had about 2 or 3 weeks to train, and I didn't really know what I was getting myself involved into. And halfway up Mount Kilimanjaro, I became horribly sick. I got a really, really bad infection, so they put me on all kinds of steroids and antibiotics. So I really essentially limped up to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro.
Would you do it again?
I would definitely do it again. I've wanted to do it again, yeah. It's
Really?
it's a lot of fun. Even when you're sick, it's still fun, so I can't imagine how much fun it is if you're not
What's it
sick.
like up there?
Well, at the very tippy top on the roof of Africa, it was cloudy that day, so we couldn't see anything, unfortunately. But a little bit lower, it's like you feel like you're on top of the world. It's really a really peaceful feeling. You know, you just feel like you're in it in an adventure.
How'd you come to go to Haiti with Sean Penn? Were you friends with him before?
No, it was for, well, we knew each other from, you know, working together on Into the Wild and Milk, so he called me a little bit after that, and I went down for 12 or 13 days, and it's amazing what he's done down there. The organization, JPHRO, that he set up, and seeing how much that's grown in the years since, and he's really, he's done a lot of amazing stuff, and seeing him firsthand down there, how he, you know, managed it was pretty impressive.
Are you kind of a person who likes to be involved?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I should be more. You know, I feel like that's something. You know, I always feel like I should be doing more.
Because your generation kind of gets wrapped as being what, selfish?
Yeah. The generation selfie. You know.
Yeah.
I think that I think that a lot of the technology that we have is
Makes it.
Well, it makes it easier. It makes it easier to be connected, but at the same time, I think it also makes it easier to be self-indulgent a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got Instagram and Twitter and
Well
MySpace
put.
and Facebook. The potential for spreading information and for helping people, I think, is actually a lot greater because you just have more communication. But there's something about, I don't know, everyone feels like they're starring in their own movie or something that you can slip into.
Sean Penn is an incredible person. He really is what he is.
Mm-hmm.
He's don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, he's
committed person.
He's 100% committed to what he's doing.
Yeah, I respect him a lot. You're a new father?
Yeah. I had a son a month yesterday.
What's his name?
Valor.
Valor?
Valor, yeah.
How did you come up with Valor?
Well, you know, my nephew is named Honor, and I loved his
Honor.
name, and I was Honor, yeah, and I was thinking of just different words, and that word just popped in my head, and different names, and it wasn't like I just was a spur of the moment thing, you know. I went through all the names and.
Well, everyone's going to call him Val, right?
Val, yeah, we'll see.
Well, what's it like? I've had many experiences in fatherhood.
It's great. I love it.
Nothing like.
He's just you know, you always hear like, oh, you change, you know, but I think until you hold the baby, you don't really know, you know. I mean, he's adorable. And
you also know that for the first time in your life, someone's more important than you.
Yeah.
And totally dependent on you.
Yeah, it's exciting, you know. And I think one of the things that I really enjoyed is the idea of just you're looking forward to so many different things, you know. When's he gonna walk? When's he gonna start talking? You know, when's he gonna start laughing?
Were you present at the birth?
I was there the day after. The day after. He came a little early.
On the next one, cut the cord. Coming up, the man is everywhere. Emile on Conquering Hollywood. An easy 5 films at a time. Next. We're back with Emile Hirsch. We got Bonnie and Clyde coming on 3 networks in December for 2 nights in a row. Is this your first television movie?
No, I did one when I was younger. When I was 12 years old, I was in a little movie called Gargantua. And I also actually played young Harry Houdini in the TNT original movie Houdini, but I was in maybe 30 seconds of the movie or something.
A child star. Okay, you got 3 things out. What is Motel Life about?
Motel Life is a film based on a novel that Willie Vlaughton wrote, starring with Stephen Dorff, and we play 2 brothers in Reno, kind of down on their luck guys who Dorff's character, Jerry Lee, accidentally hit and runs a kid, so for the first time he's on the run, you know, he's worried about going to jail, and I have to get him out of harm's way. And it's just a nice, tender drama about
He's a good actor.
2 brothers, he's a great actor, about 2 brothers, you know, just depending on each other.
Now, you're Penelope Cruz's lover in Twice Born.
Poor me, huh?
What was it like working with her?
She's fantastic. She has such a great sense of humor. We would always have
Was Bardem around?
great laughs. Yeah, Javier was around. He's great.
Some actor.
Oh, he's incredible. I mean, the two of them together, it's ridiculous.
And then you got Lone Survivor, about a failed Navy SEAL team mission with my buddy Mark Wahlberg.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do you keep... What are you in this?
It's based on the book by Marcus Luttrell. We go into Afghanistan, a 4-man team, to do recon on a Taliban commander named Ahmad Shah. So we go in there and we're in the mountains looking down on a village, and there's a team, or not a team, but there's goat herders. Their goats come through our little hides and they see us, and it's a soft compromise where the mission, if we let them go, are they gonna run back to the village and let 200 Taliban know that we're there, or are we just gonna kill them? Like, what do we do? So it kind of becomes, that type of proposition on what happens, and there's a big debate amongst the SEALs, and ultimately the decision that we make to let them go, the Taliban immediately swarm on us, and a lot of the movie is a really big, long firefight.
Are you shot?
Many times.
Mm-hmm.
Many times in the film.
Now, John Belushi, when did you start shooting that? Wow.
I think hopefully around June. Yeah, May, June.
Feature film?
Yeah. I'm really, I've been watching SNL, the early seasons lately.
Do you like comedy?
Yeah, I love comedy. I like.
Being so young and in the business, you seem to, you're not affected at all, huh? Because you didn't have too much too soon, right?
Not at all, no. In a certain sense, some of the early films I did, or early projects, they weren't necessarily successful. And looking back on it, that maybe was a good thing for me, in the long run.
So you weren't recognized walking down the street?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Where'd you grow up, here?
Yeah, I went to Hamilton High School with Robertson and the 10. Do you know the one I'm talking about?
I know Hamilton High School.
Yeah, I went to Hamilton.
They have a great drama department.
They've got a great drama department, and they've got a really good musical theater department.
Norm Pattis, the theater's name. Norm's my friend. I worked for him for years in radio.
Really?
Theater's name.
Yeah, Norman J. Pattis.
I opened that theater with him.
Really?
Correct.
Wow. Yeah, they put some great musicals on there. I saw them. My sister was the one that was actually into theater at Hamilton. She played Juliet in the school play.
Is she in theater now?
No. She's got 3 kids, and she lives in Puerto Rico now, so she's like full-time mom.
Emile will answer your questions after the break. Plus, we're playing a game of If You Only Knew. We'll be right back. Emile Hirsch, he's had an incredible career, probably best known for Into the Wild, a tremendous movie. Did that change you?
I think so.
That was a tough shoot, wasn't it?
It was tough, and I think Sean made it purposefully tough for me, but it was nowhere near as tough as it was for someone actually doing something like that. But it was an incredible experience to get to go on the road for that long with this group of people, with Sean as the leader. And
where were you?
We were in Alaska, we were in California, we were in Arizona, we were in Oregon.
Like a one-man movie, though.
At times it felt like it, it was great, though. Sean is a fantastic director with just tons of great ideas and
great
vision.
movie.
Yeah.
We have some social media questions for Emile Hirsch.
Ooh.
Courtney Bajon on Twitter wants to know which actors you admire, both presently or from the past.
Well, for me, top of my list is Sean Penn. I mean, getting to see him act as I did when I worked with him in Milk, and getting to see how he is when he directs, and getting to see how he is, as a human being, and the contributions that he, gives back to society, like with what he's doing in Haiti. I mean, he's just a model actor.
Yeah, I knew Harvey Milk, and he was perfect. Yeah, I knew Harvey well. Wow. And Molly Go Boom tweets, what or who did you study to perfect Clyde's accent?
On the Lone Survivor, Marcus Luttrell, the real-life Navy SEAL. He's from around Dallas, and I loved his accent. I would always hear his accent on set when he would be giving advice or telling us what to do. And so I went to a voice coach in Hollywood, and I played him tapes of Marcus on YouTube, and I was like, this is the voice I want. I want Clyde Barrow to sound like Marcus Luttrell, because it's not just the accent. There's a certain cadence and a kind of confidence to the way that Marcus speaks. So we used his voice. I think I told Marcus at one point, and he was just like, oh, brother.
When you get it down, do you use it when you go home?
The accent, I think sometimes. Holiday Granger, who plays Bonnie in the movie, she's British, so she would really try to stay in that accent all the time because she has this underlying paranoia that her Britishness is just going to burst out of her at any second. So we would actually stay in the accent together all the time.
At Color My Memory wants to know what sort of roles are most inspiring to take on.
Well, for me, I do find particular enjoyment portraying people that have lived in real life. I think that there's so much appreciation that you can have for discovering the details in the past that someone has had and talking to people that knew him, like in Lone Survivor, for example, getting to talk to Danny Dietz's friends and family, on the phone, Skyping, meeting in person.
You like that?
I really liked it.
There's no recording of Clyde Barrow, is there?
There's no recording of Clyde Barrow.
When did he live?
He was born in
20s?
1913, yeah.
But no record, could have been a recording of him.
I don't think that there was, though. There's not a whole lot of photographs either.
Via Rocco 1, did you come from a creative family? How did your parents feel about your career choices?
Yeah, my mother's she's an artist, and she does lots of paper cutouts and drawings and paintings, and my father certainly has an appreciation for the arts.
What does he do?
I think well, he was my manager for a long time, and now he's like a bit of a producer, and he does his own thing.
At Crimpy13 tweets, how does it feel to be so handsome? Does it get annoying after a while?
Wow, that's a very flattering question. No, it doesn't.
Okay, we finished the show with a game called If You Only Knew. Remember the first girl you kissed?
Yeah.
How old were you?
Like 13. Yeah.
What was her name?
Well, she's married to someone in the military now, so I don't think I can really name her name because I might get someone coming after me.
What was her first name?
Emma.
Emma.
Yeah.
Was it at school?
Yes.
What kids' names didn't make the cut?
Hunter was a name that we almost, and Hunter was a name that my parents had almost.
Great name. We had a producer just passed away named Hunter. Wonderful guy.
Really?
A great name, Hunter. Yeah. Valor is a great name, too.
Hunter is a little aggressive of a name, I think. Yeah.
If you weren't an actor, what would you be? You don't know anything else but acting.
I don't know. I think maybe I like to draw. I do like to draw, so maybe
an artist?
An artist of some type.
Of course, you got that from your mother.
Yeah.
Quality you most appreciate in other people?
Honesty, I think.
Most eye-opening travel experience?
I think going to Haiti.
What was that like?
Well, I'd been to the Congo for a week, and I'd been to Zimbabwe, but going to Haiti, the destruction of what had happened there was just very apparent, and it was horrifying and sad, and seeing that much destruction everywhere is just shocking.
Sean often talks about the wonderful people of Haiti.
Yeah, everybody, people are so optimistic there, and people are in such good moods. It's inspiring because you see people that, here that maybe, they have everything going for them, but they're in a bad mood,
Best advice you ever received?
The thing that springs to my mind is, it's not even, I wouldn't even say it's advice, it's one direction that Sean gave me on Into the Wild, where I asked him a question, and this is very related to acting, this isn't like a life advice thing, but I asked him, well, you could actually relate it to life. I asked him a question, and he said, don't make me do your homework for you. I asked him some question about the backstory or the character or something like that. And I think that there was just a good piece of advice about self-reliance.
Does an actor try to think, I know some actors do this, of what this guy was? Anthony Quinn told me if he played someone 60 years old, he would think, what was he like when he was 12?
Mm-hmm. I do. I've played a lot of real people now, and I oftentimes, even when I'm shooting a scene or preparing it or rehearsing it, I wonder, and sometimes it's so infuriating because you're like, gosh, what was this guy really like? Are we getting it wrong?
You ever think
are we being
what was Clyde Barrow like when he was a kid?
All the time. When he was a kid, and a lot of times I'm like, what was Clyde like when we were shooting this scene? What was this guy really like? There's no way to truly know, and you know, you can try your best to be as accurate as possible, but at the end of the day, there's times where you're still wondering, and it keeps you up at night.
Anthony Quinn told me he was playing this character once, and then suddenly one day he decided that this guy lost his father early. And it changed the way he saw him. Wow. But he invented that in his mind. You're a great guest.
Oh, thank you very much, Larry.
Emile Hirsch, great guest. Bonnie and Clyde, December 8th and 9th on Lifetime, History, and A&E. He's everywhere. Maybe CBS will also take it.
You're giving me goosebumps.
You have no excuse not to watch this. And remember, you can find me on Twitter at King's Things, and we'll see you next time.